about tectonic plate boundaries and earth crust formations. Earth crust formations is a fancy word for landforms. So we're going to relate different types of tectonic plate boundaries to the landforms that they create. Start off with divergent plate boundaries. Divergent is two. It means that the plates are pushing apart, making two different plates diverge apart. So the landforms that we see with a divergent plate are rift valleys and mountain ridges, which mountain ridges is a fancy word just for mountains, basically. So divergent plates, new crust is being created as plates move away. We have upwelling of magma from deep within the mantle that makes these two edges less dense, which makes them tilt up a little bit over time. As this magma comes up, it tends to pool on the edges of the plates, making for a small mountain range. So we have mountains forming on either side of the divergent plates, as well as something called a rift valley, which is an elongated trench like land formation. And this trench is often surrounded by fault lines or cooling rock that has cooled by magma. Magma rock that is cooled, but it's not very settled, so it tends to fault or break apart. As the magma comes up, sometimes it cools off very quickly, sometimes it doesn't cool off. So it's kind of chunky, crunchy type of rock in this rift valley. The next type of boundary is a convergent boundary. Again, con meaning together or with. So we have two plates coming together. With a convergent boundary, crust is destroyed and recycled back into Earth. So you see here this subduction zone, how this crust is going underneath this plate is going subducting under this plate. And as it does that, this rock will become softer and warmer and get recycled back into the rock cycle. This plate over here is on top, so as it crashes into the subducting plate, mountain ranges can form. Volcanoes will occur because this area is rather weak in terms of plate boundaries. It's open here, not very stable, so it gives a chance for magma to leach through, maybe different fissures and fault lines, so you have a high likelihood to have volcanoes always around plate boundaries, even if they're convergent or divergent. This unsettled rock coming together, hitting each other, both plates hitting each other, will also cause earthquakes to occur. The EQ here for earthquake. Earthquakes will also occur as the plates bump into each other. So convergent boundaries, we have mountains, volcanoes, and earthquakes. Three types of convergent plate boundaries typically occur. So these are different types of convergent plate boundaries. We have oceanic continental. So we have an ocean plate subducting underneath a continental plate. That's going to make for a mountain range. We have an oceanic plate subducting under another oceanic plate, and that will make for a deep ocean trench. As one plate moves under the other one, you'll have a very long trench occurring. Then we have continental versus continental, and this is our classic mountain range, birth of mountain range. Those two plates just smack right into each other, and as they do that, the crust will break apart, chip apart, and move upward and upward and upward. So continental versus continental will make for a pretty spectacular mountain range. Again, this crust is newer, continental crust is less dense, and that's why they'll form these mountains. Our third type of tectonic plate boundary is called a transform boundary. This is a view from above where these plates slide against each other. No one is crashing into each other, no one's going under each other. These are sliding back and forth, which is your classic earthquake activity. So transform boundaries are sliding horizontally past each other, and that causes earthquakes. Okay, for more information, please feel free to email me at rose_wignall@abss.k12.nc.us.